Hello, everybody, Facebook people out there in Facebook land. Facebook is such a funny little thing, but I love it. I have come to really love it because I can make super good connections with everybody on a really real level. And who knew, right? You don't know until you actually come in with a specific intention to do that and really engage on an authentic level. So I am here today for your beautiful Power Hour Wednesday. It is a gorgeous June 27th full moon, strawberry full moon summer day. And I hope you're doing really, really, really awesome. I hope everything is going beautifully for you this year. Can you believe we're close to halfway through? And I always take this time, I would say, to evaluate where I'm at, where I intended to be, where I set up my goals to be, what goals do I have for this year, and where I'm at right now, and what I can do different. So what do I need to adjust? So I just bring that up as a reminder. Now's the time to make any adjustments, reevaluate. I'm just sharing this to my other timeline. If I can just do it quickly. And I am so glad for anybody that shows up today and anybody who actually watches the replay. The topic that came up today to talk about is one that I know very well. And I've shared, it's the topic of realizing that somewhere deep down you still have fear around your past. And what that does energetically, what it looks like energetically, and what it does, how it affects your life now. It can affect your business, your life, your ability to attract the type of relationships that you want, whether they're business partnerships or clients, or whether they're personal relationships. Hi, Christine. Good to see you. It affects everything when we realize that we're not able to fully claim who we are and everything that we've gone through in our life. And because this is something that came up for me so very clearly, it's come through at different stages for me in this process of really coming out of the spiritual closet, that's what I call it, and being out here in the world, being seen as a force, as a leader in the metaphysical community and in the practical community. I always like to throw that in because I'm one of those people that I guess I walk in both worlds, and there's really no separation. It's one and the same. Your energetic makeup is practical. It applies to your life in practical ways across the board. I'm an extremely practical person. If you know astrology, you've heard me say I'm a Capricorn sun, I'm a Capricorn rising, and I'm a Virgo moon. Earth, earth, earth. Practical work, get it done, take care of business, boots on the ground, that's me. That is totally me. And that's why I also don't thrive in environments where there's surface level discussions. I'm not one to, there are a lot of networking meetings, not a big joyful experience for me. It's got to be really purposeful and not only purposeful, but real, really real. Like, who are you? I want to learn more about who you are. And this is what I'm talking about with who are we? And for me, I have a very, I don't know, I want to say a sordid past. I have a sordid past. And that there's nothing that I can say that I didn't learn from or grow from. And everything that I went through, whether you consider it good or bad or the ugly or the beautiful, everything I went through brought me to this place that I'm at now. And I know that the hardships I went through and the confusion I went through, the feelings of being really lost in my life. Hi, Miss Gloria. Good to see you. I know that everything I went through led me to really push myself when it came to realizing that working as an employee wasn't going to bring me the type of joy that I want from this life and allow me to be able to work with people and to do what brings me joy, and that's serving, that's working with people on a deep level. And I wasn't able to do that in my regular full-time jobs. And it also was very repetitive. I'm always one, trying to grow, expand, learn, and learn from other people, learn from experiences, but learn about myself. Hi, Miss Lena. And my past really, it's stuff that I'm just now starting to talk about. And it's funny because I thought, why talk about your past? Who cares? All that matters is your present, because that's where your power lies. But strangely enough, I'm constantly learning, constantly expanding, and I've asked for that. I've got big goals to work with people to understand the bigger picture. So I very clearly set my intentions. And when you do something like that and you've got big intentions for yourself and for your work, your service work, and your place in this world, then you're going to go through constant big, constant changes, constant up-leveling, and it never stops. And everybody does. It's just some of us do it more subconsciously, and some of us are more consciously aware of what's going on and active in setting our sights for what we want to create, what we're feeling so passionate about inside and want to make a reality, and then realizing along the way, holy moly, that means I'm going to look at my past. It means that anything that is energetically tied to feelings of guilt, shame, embarrassment, feelings of all of the types of feelings that are kind of on the dense or lower, if you will. I'm not a big fan of saying lower, higher, but on the denser, heavier side of the emotional scale versus the lighter side. And we start to go up on the lighter side when we start to get into hope and expectation and curiosity and love. Anything that's down there, those emotions, there's strands of emotions that are tied to experiences we've had in the past. And guess what? Anything that is tied to heavy emotions, even if you don't realize they're there, because we're so good at just going about our business and not realizing it, but it will come up. If you have asked to be used by the divine, by God, by universe, by your getting in touch with your soul and your spirit, whatever way you do that, and you've asked to do more, you've asked to be more, you've asked to show up more, to assist, to share, to love, to commune, then the strands of anything related to these lower energies or heavier energies, denser energies related to your past will arise for you to see that. And one example of that for me is, I mean, there's so many examples, but if you feel like things aren't moving forward, let me see if I can give you a specific example. Which one do I choose? Oh, a really good one is feeling like, okay, there's times in my life where I felt like I didn't have support. And like I only could talk to like one person who really understood where I was going or where I was coming from, what I was going through. And because I set my intention to please meet more people that would be of like mind, that would understand the processes we go through when we are clearing and working on holding a high vibration energy and understanding that we are responsible for the energy and the power, the space that we hold, and that we work to be in complete alignment, mind, body, words, thoughts, actions, with our soul spirit, then that's what I had asked for. There was a hitch to that. And if I'm not, for example, I didn't see the people coming in as fast. We always think things are going to come in very quickly or change quickly. And this is the same as in my business. If I'm not seeing that I'm reaching the people who are connecting with my message, I'll give two examples in one. And yet I'm working, I'm doing the process, I'm reaching out, I'm creating content, I am showing up in person, online, over the phone, and everywhere. But if I'm not connecting, if I see that there's like a lull in my business, which there are natural lulls, then depending on how long that is, I know I'm paying attention. What's going on in me? What do I have within me that I need to look at? What's really going on? Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining. Then one of the things that will come to realization, and hopefully you have like that one support person like I have had to say, where are you, and like a little further down the road in these areas, much more experience and very in tune and connected with no judgment. They can say, where do you not value your work? Where are you not valuing your work? Questions come up like about the relationships, about attracting more of like-minded or energetic, energy people that are at your energy or beyond. Where am I still afraid to connect with those people? Where am I intimidated? Where do I feel like I don't fit? Am I being fully honest with what I'm asking for? Or do I have some hidden, fear or feelings of unworthiness around what I've said I want to create, what I said I want to come into my life? And this is where your emotions from past experiences are meant to be looked at, and in fact can be revealed very, very easily. You don't have to go digging for these things. You just have to realize if things aren't moving forward in the way that you've set your intention, and you're taking the actions and you're staying high vibration and very integrous, then there's something going on. And I get to look at my own energy matrix. I get to look at my own emotional body and just look at, to put it in more muggle terms, to just look to reflect internally at where am I possibly self-sabotaging myself. And I don't realize it. And I don't use that word very often, self-sabotage. It's got a negative connotation. We don't mean it in that way, but we definitely do have hidden emotions that we've hidden from ourselves. But as soon as we start asking the questions to ourselves, then they can become clear and we can start realizing, wait a minute, you're right. I'm not valuing myself. I don't, for some reason, I am lacking the confidence. And it's a process. There's a process that I have learned that is highly effective. I use it with my clients. I use it on myself, and it's really a process of asking questions and being willing to get deeper and deeper and continue to ask why and go further and further. Not just why, but why do I feel this? What does it mean if, that I'm feeling this? What's the benefit to feeling intimidated by successful people that I want to connect with? What's the benefit of not meeting them? What's the benefit of not working with more clients? What's the benefit to me of not going bigger in my business? You have to ask those kind of like, I don't even know, whatever those are called, but they're kind of like, they trip up your mind because you're not then thinking along a linear path of, well, I'm feeling this. You trip up your mind as to what am I getting out of it? What am I getting out of not doing this? Because it's not showing up energetically for you, even though you're like, I'm ready. So there's often and this is from personal experience. And like I said, I'll be sharing a lot more about my past simply because I am being called to share that with people. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Can be a strand of why you're feeling unworthy or devaluing yourself or your services, or thinking that that you are afraid of really stepping it up and meeting more people that are doing amazing things, that are, whether they're further along than you or you look up to them. There's this level of, can I really pull it off? And there's that feeling, imposter syndrome. Somebody mentioned that the other day, imposter syndrome. It's that feeling of feeling that you're really not good enough. And it can be very hidden and you won't even realize it. For me, I realized I had shame around my past, things that I hadn't completed, things that I felt for me where I was a failure at, and experiences I've had that were not glamorous, that were not pretty, and the type of environment, that I've lived in, that I've grown up in, the type of behavior that I've taken part in. And I could I'll go into a couple details, but I won't share everything in this, in this event, but I want to see if any of you, and I see people are joining, but it shows me on Facebook that people are also dropping off. So I'll say hi to everybody. And if you're staying, then please let me know in the comments if you have had this come up for you, where you realize that you're feeling unworthy or that you're actually not valuing yourself and the gifts that you have, and that is tied to why things are not moving forward for you in your business or your life or your relationships. Is this something you've identified? Can you be vulnerable to let me know in the comments? Yes, or I'm not sure. The shame was not a big feeling in the beginning of coming out of the spiritual closet for me. And for me, that was the moment when I knew it was time, and I knew that I needed to be fully authentic. For me, authenticity, genuine, being in full integrity with myself is so, it's a core value for me, and it's so important. So there was a point when I realized, by living my life the way I was, by working as an employee and not actually coming out and saying, I do energy work and I do intuitive readings, and not only that, I was doing channeling at that time. By not admitting that and doing what I love, what was within my passion and my heart, my soul and my spirit to do, I was living a lie. That's how it felt to me, because I was not really fully being me in my job. I was working my hardest. I was doing my very best, like I always do, but it felt like a lie at some point, because I realized what I really wanted to be doing. And I had to get the guts to be willing to make those business cards, create that website, and share with people, this is what I do. So, at that time, I dealt with huge fear that would literally shake my body. It was a physical, it came to that physical level of fear to be seen, to talk about it. I was afraid of being, crucified. I was afraid of being hated. I was afraid of confrontation. I was afraid of people really saying, these terrible things because they didn't get it. And I was afraid of being vulnerable. And I was afraid also because I thought they would challenge me. And the reality is that those are the kinds of fears that we just have to face if we're going to be willing, like we said, to serve, to be used, to follow our passion, our mission, our passion, mission, path of our own truth. And the shame that I also had was around all of those things that I felt like I didn't finish. I didn't finish college. I did not get my degree. And that was always something that I felt lacking in, as far as the quality or the character in my own character. And I used to do drugs. I have stories around the type of role that drugs played in my life. And when that finally stopped for me as an adult, and having these experiences, and I lied. In the past I've lied. And it's these kind of experiences that you feel bad about. You feel bad about the things that you went through. And when you're not willing to say that you can stand in your own body, you can stand in your own power, and you can be honest, and you can be transparent, and you can still own who you are now and everything you've been through, and allow that to be just actually your badge of honor. Yeah, I did a lot of things. I went through a lot of things. I witnessed a lot of things in my life. And I can be proud of where I am now. And I can be proud of stepping forward in talking about God. That's a big one. I was so scared to say the word God. Seriously. And it's still something. The other day, I'll give you another example and how this affects our life now. I'll get into that. I was at the vet's yesterday picking up prescription canned cat food for my cat. And I was at a different vet's office because I was in a different area of town. And the words came through. I could tell they were very busy, and I know how hard. I used to work at a vet's office, and it is crazy. It's not for the faint of heart on any level, no matter what you're doing in a vet's office. It's crazy. It's very hard work, and then you're dealing with, these most beloved creatures. And I just said, I can tell you guys are so busy, and how are things going? I always ask, how are you doing? Golly gee, that's really loud. I always ask, so how are you guys doing? And with genuine curiosity to see how they're doing. And the words came in to share with her as she told me how crazy it had been in this month. And she wasn't sure why, but they were doing really good, but it's been just super duper busy and they've been swamped. And the words came in, you're doing God's work. I was afraid to say it. Because to me, I've had the experiences of being around people who talk about God, but have a very closed heart, who are very judgmental. And this is my own personal experience. And I love everybody, no matter what role they came to play, no matter their journey in that. It's not for me to decide. It's not for me to judge. It's not for me to it's literally for me to own my own path. That's where my responsibility lies. And to own how I respond, react, or how I show up in the world. That's where my responsibility relies, or it lies. Not in making any judgments, comments, or the judgments is really it. We can say that we don't judge, but the reality is it's become such a common habit for us to become affected and then begin to even judge ourselves based on what other people say and whether other people's successes, other people's losses, other people's struggles, we start to, have that affect us. And so therefore we end up judging ourselves, let alone judging that person's situation. It's become so common that we don't even realize we're doing it. So that's one of the topics that I've also been putting material together to talk more about. But yeah, I was afraid to say you're doing God's work because I'm not affiliated with any religion. And it still didn't feel completely comfortable to say that, but those were the words that came in. And I knew that those words came in for a reason, because they would have touched someone on a heart level. So this is how being scared to be vulnerable and to speak about your past, scared to look at your past, and scared to realize that you feel shame. And maybe you don't now. Maybe you're not relating to this message. However, there probably have been times where this relates, and may come a time as you continue to ask to play a bigger role in helping others in this world, where the past comes to your forefront to be seen, to be felt, to be acknowledged. And for me, that shame, even though it was, in the beginning, it was super strong, and I was very aware of it when I came out and I said, I'm going to do channeling and energy work for people as a public business that was very clear. The last time this came up, now as we go expand even further and are called to do even more, there's constant, even more, like the smallest strands of anything that's out of alignment with your full truth is going to come up to be seen. So the latest time that this came up was very recent, and it was hidden. And it took me a long time to find out this was what was at the bottom of what I was experiencing in the physical. And it was the feeling that I didn't reach the standard in areas of my life in the past that I would have liked to have reached, that I felt like I failed. And that I was ashamed of the type of things that I've experienced in my past. And I gave some examples. I know some people are hopping on after about 30 minutes of talking. So I gave some examples earlier. If you get the chance to listen to the replay, I'm going to share more about some of these things that I've gone through because I'm being called from within to be honest about it. And maybe what I'm realizing is that's a part of how we clear this stuff too. We share it. And I'm not a big one on dwelling on, stuff that's negative that's happened in the past, but the reality is we're not dwelling on it, but we are telling our story. Because as I tell you the stuff that I've been through, it's a crazy story. My life is a crazy story, and I think everybody's is. Then we start to realize we don't have to have shame around it, and it's okay to feel shame around it, and it's okay for us to feel whatever feelings we're feeling around it, and to not ignore it, and to let ourselves express it in what way we need to, so that we can become lighter. And as I mentioned earlier, on that emotional scale, we can move from these denser, heavier feelings that may be hidden but are now coming. As I'm speaking, you can even become aware of what you're feeling. That's right there, your opportunity to go, you know what, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to take the time and I'm going to do some work around this to let myself acknowledge what I'm feeling and what it's about. And as I mentioned earlier, I mentioned the process of continuing to ask questions to go deeper and deeper, to get really down to the bottom line of the misperception or the illusion of who you are. That's all that you're really doing when you're doing this work, is getting down to what is the misperception that I have within me. Anything that is outside of unconditional love, unconditional influence, and empowerment in your life is somehow out of alignment with your truth. It's something that's not in your actual truth, because you, as a full spiritual divine being of light, as they say, another way of saying that, it is created in the likeness of God, the divine, a child of God, a brother, sister of God, of the divine, of Jesus. However the words are that resonate for you, the reality is that you are pure, you are brilliant in more ways than you can ever imagine. But you've got to be willing to open that door and to start to accept that, to start to open your heart, to start to release what's heavy on your heart that you may not even realize. And so the ways that those feelings about our past affect our current is that we're asking for things that are not showing up. That's when you know that something is off within you, between what you're asking for or what you're intending and what you're expecting and what you're getting. That means, okay, there's something within me. And if you don't know how to go within and to look further, to inquire further in a comfortable way, because I will say, even if you do know some techniques, the level at which you can move quickly and easily now in this time to higher levels of your own self-awareness, your own self-expression of truth, these things can happen much easier, much quicker, on a greater level if you have support that understands how to hold you in that highest light. That's the level at which someone that you may want to use as a support, call on as a guide to help you to get down deep and to clear what these misperceptions of thought or these energetic misalignments are, which are perfectly normal for everybody to have. I was going to say natural, but they're not of our true nature. They're of the human condition. And that's, if you want to get really metaphysical quantum, that's all part of the whole. So it's all one anyway. There's nothing that's good or bad or wrong or right. It is one whole connected matrix experience. So that's where this self-compassion comes in, and realizing that, hey, I do want some support here, and I'm willing to ask for that support. Show me, divine within me, lead me to the person who can help me in the highest, best way for my soul's truth. You will be led, and you will know it because you'll feel it when you find that person or that resource that's going to help you to up-level and to clear and to become lighter, brighter in your own authentic way. There was something I was going to say. So this is a topic that's big, and I've shared a lot, and I hope that it makes sense. For any of you that have tuned in, you can please let me know in the comments if any of this resonated for you and which part resonated, and if you have any questions. Today I see that a lot of people are joining, but people may not have time to interact. I'm being very clear to talk about the points and not ask as many questions. So if you do have questions or can relate, or later you think about this, then please, you can message me privately, or you can write down a comment. But let me know how this topic resonates for you or not. I like feedback, and I also like to hear your ideas for what you would like me to explore with you further. Energetically, things can be spoken about on different levels of understanding. So if I'm talking in a way that you can't follow, let me know that too. There's lots of different people that I see that are joining that have lots of different experience, but the reality is I see everybody who has joined today has an understanding that everything is energy, including us. And the more that we work to be fully authentic with who we are in all aspects of who we are, the lighter we become, and the more we can show up for people and for the other work that we want to do, whether it's with animals or for the planet. But ultimately, we are learning that we need each other and we need to support each other. So whatever projects we want to become involved with or are working on to better the planet, we are going to need to be as authentic and honest with ourselves as possible. And you're safe in doing that. There is also this fear when we become vulnerable to work with someone that we have exposed ourselves. Set your intention, like I mentioned, to be led to find the person who is going to work with you at your highest level of truth for your greatest good. And then trust in that, and trust in the knowing that you will know when you have found that person, instead of acting from a place of desperation, a place of neediness, a place of feeling that you are lacking or that you are limited. I have gone to people before in the past where I was desperate. Those are when we can get led astray, because we are coming from that place of someone else has the answers for me, when instead of the higher level of I am ready for more support to become more empowered in my life, to show up more authentically. Whatever your goal is, put that in your words. See the difference in the intention behind looking for support and choosing that person to support you. There's also a level of vulnerability around looking at your past and doing this energetic work, or just whatever you want to call it, this self-realization work, because it can feel like too heavy. One of my very best friends from years ago said to me she did not want to meditate with me because she didn't want to go in there. She knew. This is how she put it. She said, I know what's in there. And she said, there's no way. She probably said, there's no way in hell you're getting me to go in there. But that's because we all have things in our closet, right? Skeletons in our closet. I'll use the word demons, hoping that it doesn't trigger anybody. But these vulnerabilities, these things that are painful for us to look at, you can do that in a safe environment with someone like me, who knows how to hold a space of pure love and light for you to do that. And you don't have to do it alone. But you can also do it with your own personal divine. Ask within yourself to get in touch with your soul and to know that you will and are receiving help the moment you ask. The moment you begin to doubt is the moment you cut yourself off from feeling and knowing from within you that you are receiving support. And that support will guide you in any direction you need to be guided to assist you to do what you've set your intention to do. So I've covered a lot of ground and I've talked a lot. So I thank you so much. Your power, your energy, your integrity, your truth is your responsibility, each of our responsibility. And we have everything we need. Trust me, I have gone from being at the lowest, the very lowest, of no belief in myself, no feeling, no confidence, just feeling the lowest of the low, and having traumatic events happen to me, to where I am now. And the reason I'm here talking about this is because I feel very strongly, I know everybody can have the type of experiences that I've had in connecting with this divine source of love. It is there within you, waiting for you, just as it was within me. And somehow I knew that spark kept me going through the times when I didn't want to be here in my body, in this world anymore. And somehow all of those experiences led me up to here. And I have felt the touch of the divine on the deepest level of my being many times. And now, this is the type of communal work that I do daily and hold a level of devotion. When I say devotion, again, it doesn't mean from a religious point of view. It has to do with devoting myself to this greater purpose of divine love and light. That's what I mean. And that's what I'm here to do. And I claim that, and I know that. And I also know I'm human. I'm having human experiences. I'm not perfect. And I also hold that level of knowing you can experience love, unconditional love, and the feelings that touch you at the deepest parts of your soul if you are open to it, if you're willing. And if that's something that you want, and maybe it's not, so that's good too. Everybody has their own journey, and it's all really good. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful to have you in my circle. Truly, truly, truly. I use Facebook as a way to connect from the heart. So again, message me if you have thoughts, questions, or comments. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I will talk to you soon. Take good care of yourself. Thank you for the hearts.